Hello there, and welcome to the History Channel. Throughout the course of history, there have been many conquerors, but the one I'm here to talk to you about is Hernando Cortez, the most daring and successful conqueror or conquistador of the 16th century. Cortez's origins start way back in 1485 Mandaluyong, Spain, when he was born. As a boy, he would practice sword fighting and go hunting rabbits with his father. At the age of 14, his parents sent him to the University of Salamanca. There, he studied to be a lawyer. By the time he was 17, he grew tired of law and wanted to become rich and famous for battle. Originally wanting to go to Spain, wanting to join the Spanish army fighting in Italy, headed towards the ports of Valencia, but was sidetracked by the gold and wealth that the southern ports were bringing, causing him to go to the island of Hispaniola in journey of wealth. In 1504, Hernando landed in the West Indies, where he started a small plantation with several slaves. After a few years of being there, he got the attention of Commander Velez, or Diego, who in 1511 was ordered to bring the island of Cuba under Spanish control. With the help of Cortez and several other troops, this mission was a success. As a result, Diego became the governor of Cuba. Cortez, being friends with Diego, received gifts of land and slaves. He was elected twice as the mayor of Santiago. In 1518, Diego, the governor of Cuba, made an agreement appointing Cortez the captain general of an expedition to Mexico. His duty was to convert the natives to Christianity, get gold and precious metals, and add to the Spanish Empire. Cortez's instincts told him to move fast before Diego changed his mind and appointed a new general. Using his experience from previously failed expedition and as administrator, gathered several ships and a lot of men. Diego grew uncertain about Cortez's goals and his loyalty, and worried that Cortez couldn't be the lapdog that he wanted. On February 18, 1519, he set sail for Mexico with 11 ships and about 600 men with 16 horses. One of Cortez's famous quotes was, "I and my companions suffer from a disease of the heart, which can only be cured by gold." He traveled over the coast of the Yucatan to the city of Potochan, arriving there sometime in March. Cortez had heard rumors that these people had given the explorers that had come before gold, and was expecting the same. The natives in Potochan refused to let Cortez and his men in. Cortez didn't take this too lightly, and readied his men for war with his war dogs, cannons, muskets, crossbows, and horses. Cortez easily overwhelmed the native forces, causing them to surrender. When Cortez came into the city, they welcomed him with gifts such as gold and many other presents, which included a slave named Marina, his future wife and translator. Soon, Montezuma, the ruler of the Aztec Empire, had become aware of Cortez's presence and sent a messenger to give him precious metals such as gold and silver, only if he stayed out of Tenochtitlan. Cortez told Montezuma's messengers that he wanted to pay the king a tribute to the king in person, and started marching towards the capital. Before he could start marching, he faced a problem among his men. About half of them suggested a mutiny and wanted to go back home. In order to solve this problem, Cortez built the settlement of Veracruz and made himself governor, which meant he reported straight to the king of Spain and not to his friend Diego, the governor of Cuba. To prevent his men from getting ideas of running away, he burnt all the ships except for one, which he sent to the king of Spain with all his letters and all the gold and precious metals he had acquired from the natives. When he finished building the settlement of Veracruz, he left 150 Spaniards at the settlement to guard it from any other Spanish conquistador trying to encroach his claim or hostile. Marched up to Sempoala. At Sempoala, Cortez met with the chief of the town and made an alliance together against Montezuma. As a result, he received 400 native troops. Cortez's next stop was Tlaxcala, the home of the Aztecs' biggest rivals. But unlike the people of Sempoala, who welcomed Cortez, the people of Tlaxcala attacked him and his men, which wasn't a wise idea. After a few bloody battles, the chief of Tlaxcala called his men and agreed to negotiate with Cortez. The Tlaxcala agreed to fight side by side with the Spaniards against the Aztecs. Cholula was the last big city between Cortez and Tenochtitlan. At Cholula, the natives were given orders by Montezuma to attack Cortez. With the help of his allies, he massacred thousands of Indians. On the 1st of November, the Spaniards left Cholula and started their march towards the valley. The Spaniards seen such a beautiful city built on water. One of Cortez's men, named Diaz, said, "When we saw all those cities and villages built on water, and other great towns on dry land, and that straight level bridge leading to Mexico City, we were astounded." Finally, Montezuma, not knowing what to do about Cortez, allowed him enter his city peacefully, thinking he was a god. Cortez's translator was able to manipulate Montezuma's mind so subtly that he would be a prisoner to Cortez inside his own. Early 1520, Captain Narvaez came from Cuba with the Spanish force to deprive Cortez of his command, leaving a garrison of about 120 Spaniards and a few hundred Tlaxcalans at Tenochtitlan. Cortez wanted to convince Narvaez's men to join him and his mission to take over the Aztec Empire. When he got back, he was surprised to find that the Aztecs were surrounding his men because they had gone on a rampage, killing all of the nobles. In order to make it easier for his men to escape, Cortez told Montezuma to try and calm his subject down. But this attempt failed, resulting in Montezuma's death by stones that his people threw. Cortez plotted several escape routes, taking all the gold he could get, and left the city. When he was halfway there, an Aztec citizen rang the bell, which alerted all of the Aztecs. In minutes, they were surrounded. The retreat of Cortez and his allies from Tenochtitlan is known as the Sad Night. Hundreds of Spaniards died, and thousands of native allies died. After retreating and reorganizing his fort, Cortez set a siege over Tenochtitlan in the month of December 1520, conquering street by street until he controlled every last alleyway. Finally, this epic battle was over in August 13, 1521, the day the Aztec Empire officially fell to Cortez. After conquering the Aztec Empire, Cortez's life didn't go exactly as he planned. After spending 2 years in the jungles of Honduras, he returned to New Spain, only to find that the officials he left in charge had seized most of his property and land, charging him with acts of cruelty, resulting him to go to Spain and talk to the king in person. There, the king forgave him of his sins, but Cortez was still broke. Eventually, miserable, tired, exhausted, and delusional, Cortez asked the king if he could go back to New Spain, and the king said yes, but before he could get there, he died. As you can tell, I've been wearing a necklace this entire time. This necklace is one of the few pieces that have been saved from Cortez's expedition. Here is also a gold coin, and this is a miniature version of the sword that Cortez used in the battle. Thank you, and I hope you like this documentary.